Well, good morning, everybody. Today it's back to my regular format, just because I want to show you how fresh things look after the rain. We got a ton of rain yesterday, and you can almost hear a huge sigh of relief from the garden. It is just so happy to have a really deep drink of water. But this morning I want to show you a couple of things that I've got coming up on my list of things to do. So I'm getting ready to do a hanging basket for fall that's going to have these components. Some of these are southern living plants. There's a buttered rum heucherella and some chrysanthemums, but they don't look like mums. They look like daisies. So I think they're going to do what I want them to do. And then some nightlights, chemisiporus, but that's for later. That will be on a project that I do, a planting project, probably later this week or this weekend. So I want to come back here because what I want to show you today is something that every year at the end of the season I kind of come up with my list of winners and losers of plants that just performed exceptionally well for me, or plants with which I'm developing a new obsession. And so in addition to topiary, I have probably referenced in the past that I am starting to just love scented geraniums. So I want to tell you a little bit about why, and then tease a video that we'll be doing coming up probably on LVTV with my friend Monica. She did a whole program with me on rooting cuttings and things that we did for LVTV. And if you want to join, I sound like a broken record, just go to Vater.tv and you can subscribe. But that is scented geraniums. So she started me and introduced me to a whole new addiction on scented geraniums. Now, as you well know, I have very much an obsession with foliage and form and line and shape and form in the garden. I'm developing also an obsession with scent. But in addition to the formation of the leaves and the textures and all of that I guess my garden is kind of known for, that green on green and tone on tone, I'm really becoming obsessed now with trunks and stems and the architecture of branching. And so these I have just pruned pretty hard. These are scented geraniums. They're all different varieties, and we'll talk about that later in another video. But they have really interesting form. Look at this one in particular. Isn't that just fabulous? And as it matures and ages, it's going to develop that real kind of a Mediterranean look of the old olive tree, old apple tree. I think of it as gardening history, where there's lots of history in the age of the plant itself as it matures and develops some unique personality and characteristics over time. So these are 3. I've just pruned them, and I'm so anxious to see how they will mature and grow even until the end of the season, because these will be beautiful until first frost. And our first frost, a lot of times here in Oklahoma, isn't even until November, when they will have to be brought in because they're not cold hardy. But let me show you some other ones. I have a number of them in this kind of hodgepodge planter, and this is a mixture of pelargoniums and scented geraniums. I just planted this not too long ago. When it comes into bloom, you'll see a little bit more definition, and I'll show you how that came together. So now coming over here, let's round the bend. I have a really large, or rather large one compared to the other potted specimens, in this pot here, and I'm debating on whether or not I want to take off a lot of the bottom foliage to expose the branching on this one. Now, I should have separated these, and I will in another video, so you can really see the definition of the plant without all of the distractions of the other foliage behind it. And I might get back to vlogging tomorrow, but today I just really wanted you guys to see these beautiful plants and how they grow. And then I think part of it, here's another one in this interesting container here. But one of the reasons I think that I have grown so fond of them is because I realized finally how to grow them. Number one, they can really handle lots of sun and heat and direct light and a rather brutal exposure. And once I learned that, they became infinitely more valuable in the garden. So, and I love this one. This one has adopted pretty much the look, almost a bonsai look, you guys, of the way I envision some of these other varieties. Yes, they will bloom. The blooms are far more delicate. They're not in your face like the blooms of pelargonium. But then these have that magnificent scent and that magnificent branching. And then these over here are the ones that I have showed you before. None of this purslane is blooming yet. The sun isn't out. So they're staying hidden. They're hibernating. The blossoms are hibernating. But I mean, look at this one, this magnificent variegated variety. And again, I'll go into a deep dive into all these different varieties and their scents and their names. They have such personality. This is green and white variegated, and this is the one that I cut off of to do my indoor arrangement yesterday for my dining room table. And this one over here, you can also see, this one just reminds me of green velvet. I mean, look at those leaves. And yes, they feel as velvety and as succulent as they look in this container. And this, you guys, this exposure, I'm sure I've told you before, faces west. So this gets the most brutal heat and sunlight that summer in Oklahoma can throw at it. And then over here, I've got some others on a plant stand. I should have put my hose up. I certainly don't need to be watering today, where I've got them in this plant stand along with, this is a lemon verbena topiary I'm doing. Again, I'll put these on a table where you can see each of them individually and very distinctively. But I love the fact that of the variety, and I love the variance in the leaf form. Look at that one in the back that's got very much of a cut leaf form versus this one, and how beautifully they play against one another. And there's another variety, kind of a chartreuse, but just look at the indentations and the bas relief of those leaves, and just how they fold and unfurl. That to me is just the best thing of gardening. I just absolutely love it. And there's also subtle variations in the color. Some are kind of blue-green, some are chartreusey green. They're just all different, and that's what I think makes them so fun and have such personality. It's funny, I don't know if you guys give gender to some of the things that grow in your garden, but I have some of those that I think of as gals and some that I think of as guys. Here is a pot that I just recently put in place. I'm going to tuck in some marigolds, but see there's 3 different varieties of scented geraniums, and I've tucked it in that basket. So these will really flourish after all of this rain. Then they'll get some sun. And I think they're going to just be magnificent. And I think they just really harmonize beautifully with all of these other kind of Mediterranean looking plants. And that olive tree in the middle, let me see if I can zoom in. This is another example of what I mean about just the beauty of the trunks, the shadowing, the way the light plays off of them, how that changes with the seasons. So for me, first there were flowers, then there was foliage, and now there is branching in the trunks and the architecture of the plant itself. That gives me imminent joy, and I think it's one of the reasons I like to prune things up so dramatically sometimes, is because I just love to expose the architecture of things. And there's a couple of examples. My beloved Chinese snowball viburnum, that Weigela in the distance. And by the way, you guys have been sending such lovely comments. I can't tell you. I don't always respond immediately, but I do read them, and the kindness you express and the affection you express is more appreciated than you would know. It makes me feel not so lonely during COVID, and I like the way you comment on each other's responses. So I just want to thank you for your friendship and for your community and for your kind souls. It does not go unnoticed nor unappreciated, and we could all use a little bit of that right now. So for now, I'm just going to say adios. I may be back to vlogging tomorrow. I'm trying to mix things up. I don't want you guys to get bored. But if you would, I will ask a favor. If you would recommend this to others that you think might enjoy, tell them to follow me on YouTube. And if you haven't given LVTV a try, you can sign up at lindavater.tv and you can get 14 free days and just give it a test drive, see if it's for you, if it's not for you. But it's a little bit more intimate community. We have our own Facebook group, and I try to send a little message every day, and it's just a little bit more of a deep dive into topics that inspire me. So, not a sales pitch, just an invitation, if you will. Thank you again for hanging out with me. And it's been a cool morning. You can tell fall is in the air. So some sights and sounds for you on this Wednesday morning. You guys stay safe and stay well. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.